Today's adventure brings me to the Orange Circle, Orange, California. My old stomping grounds where I used to live, 2015, 2016. As the recording of this, it is Monday, September 18th, 2023. And here in Old Town Orange, in the historic plaza, it looks as if construction update. Something has happened to the fountain. This is the first time I've ever not seen the fountain on before. I figured I'd do a little stroll around, see what's happening. I haven't been here in a little while. Please pardon our dust while repairs are made to the plaza fountain. Thank you for your patience. Now, I call it the Orange Circle. I know a lot of other people around here also call it the Orange Circle, but I guess technically it's the Orange Plaza, and there's usually a bench. When I used to live here, I used to have a lot of thoughts and walks and talks and sit and talks and just talks. A lot of times I would utilize that bench right over there. But first, I'm gonna get some coffee. Welcome everyone, TheDailyWoo here, and I can safely say the year and a half, 2 years that I lived here, 2015 into the early 2015, January, let's say, of 2015 until summer of 16. So I think it was about an 18-month lease, a year and a half lease, more than, well, just about that I was at. Maybe it was 2 years. Nonetheless, I enjoyed living in this area and just have some fond memories. Just gonna take a little stroll, but first, as I stated, I need a little caffeine, a little piping hot caffeinated beverage. There was a place called Phil's Coffee, which is based out of San Francisco. They opened a few years ago, right at the end of an old gas station. So I'm gonna head over there and get some coffee. Join me, shall you? Now, in that time frame that I was residing here, I was about 3 blocks from here, 3 or 4 blocks from here, so I could walk down here all the time. So there is an active Starbucks over there, but back then, there used to be an active Starbucks in this bank. So there were 2 Starbuckses within just a couple yards of each other. I'm not getting Starbucks today though. I'm gonna get some Phil's, if it's still open. Now, I either have a horrible memory, which I probably do, or this is new. I don't ever remember seeing a bus roll through this area. But I guess there was. But then again, for the last couple of years, from 2020 up until very recently, this street was all blocked off. You couldn't drive down it. Also, Tiddlywinks was used in the movie That Thing You Do. This was the appliance store in That Thing You Do. And if you've ever listened to No Doubt, Tragic Kingdom, that album cover, if you look at the very back of it, right up here is where Gwen Stefani and the rest of the band took their photos. She was in a she was like running with a shopping cart full of musical instruments, and you can match these up. I've covered this before, but it's been some time, so I'm just kind of mentioning it again. So if you look at the back cover, Tragic Kingdom, you see Gwen Stefani with a shopping cart running right here, and you can match all this up here in front of this place now called Provisions. They have coffee there, but I'm heading over to that place. Ooh, there's a dumpling bar here now. Take a look at that. And this place is open if you wanted to start a little business. This like cute little alcove type store. Skateboarding, rollerblades, and bikes. I mean, does anyone even rollerblade anymore? People skateboard and bicycle. You'll see a lot of rollerbladers. Too much. I always like the little words they put up here in this church, this Sunlight Marquee, right on the corner of LaSalle and Maple Ave, right there. I can remember when this opened. In fact, I think I was here on opening day of the Phil's Coffee. In fact, I drank some Phil's Coffee recently when I was up in San Francisco. And I talked about how this was here, and it reminded me of one of my many homes. But now I'm back here to get some coffee. And I want to talk about how I have no idea what in the name of heck I'm going to be doing during all of October. It's all completely up in the air. All up. I always get something, well, not always, but 9 times out of 10 when I go to a Phil's, which I don't even know if I've been to a Phil's more than 10 times, but a lot of times I will get something called the Filtered Soul, which has a hazelnut flavor, so I do like hazelnut. But they have kept the original design of the old auto body shop, or the old mechanic shop with the 3 bay doors right here, which is pretty nice. And you see over there on that electrical box, they have the oranges painted on the side, right over there. It would be neat one day to go inside that church building because it's in an old theater. But yeah, my October depends on the baseball postseason and the Tampa Bay Rays. And the Tampa Bay Rays looks like they're gonna be getting a new stadium, and it looks as if is going to be in St. Pete, in the Tampa Bay area. Checking a few hours ago, it was prominently rumored, heavily rumored, even though it has not 100% officially been announced, but it looks as if, this is hypothetically and speculation, but very heavy, strong, according, you never trust the internet, but as I am mentioning this, it appears as if the Tampa Bay Rays are going to still be the Tampa Bay Rays, not the Tampa Rays, not the Orlando Rays, and they're going to be staying in the Bay Area of Florida. Ooh, I should have probably put a little bit more sugar in this. It usually settles towards the bottom. All right, I'm gonna get walking. Let's see what's happening down at the circle. You know, just for the heck of it, earlier, I'm always kind of thinking out loud, and just like I'm very impulsive with my decisions. In fact, when I moved here in 2015, I came to visit. I went to Disneyland on New Year's from 2014 into 2015. And also I'm getting sidetracked because I want to talk about another old gas station here called the filling station that's been repurposed into like a restaurant. But I moved here impulsively in 2015, just kind of on a whim. I do a lot of things on a whim. Moved to Hollywood, kind of the same thing, bought an RV, kind of on a whim. I don't know, I have problems. But I looked up to see if the house I used to rent a few blocks from here was for rent again. I don't know, I don't know what I'm doing. I do that with a lot of places. I'll just be in a certain area and then I'll just look up real estate, look up rentals, look up for sale thing. I always do that. Some great old ghost signs through here, like that Hobbs battery for all cars. See it painted on the side right there. And I think what I said about the buses, I think the buses were through here before, but for the last few years when they had the streets blocked off for the outdoor dining, California kind of kept that going longer than a lot of other states. You obviously couldn't drive through, so I haven't been used to seeing buses through here in a while. And it's not even as if I am planning on moving back to California, because in all honesty, I probably never will, but it's just the way my mind works. When I'm in a place, you start to kind of daydream, window shop, things like that. Speaking of window shopping, that's all I've ever done at this Mr. C's, because I don't think I've ever been by here when it's been open. They do have the opening hours up here, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Oh, you know what? That's why. It's from noon to 4 on the weekends, and I guess for whatever reason, one reason or another, I'm never strolling past this. I think when I lived in the area, I went in here once or twice. Me and my former roommate, Tyler Evans, rock journalist, he moved to Georgia, which I was talking to my friend Justin Scard about it. That's been almost 8 years ago. That would have been this time of the year, 2015, when he left. Man, where the heck does the time go? So it had been 8 years. Look at that moon down there. Such a great vibe around here. You got the wind chimes going. You ever hear there's a need a plant, take a plant? If you need a plant, take a plant. If you want to leave a plant, leave a plant. Okay, got the newer sports car there, but then classic car alert. One thing about this area, you see a lot of vintage vehicles always cruising through here. And look at this old liquor store sign, which was here before the kitchen place that went in, the restaurant that's in there now popped in. But they put the liquor store sign back up after the fact, but now it is a place called Boss Cat. Oh, there's even like part of the liquor store sign over there, but I love that classic car right there. Should also mention the Tampa Bay Rays just clinched going into the wild card. They are in the AL East division. Right now, Baltimore is 2 games ahead of them, and as I'm speaking, there are 11 games left in the regular season for the Rays. I believe 12 or 13 for Baltimore. So there's a possibility that the Rays could still get the division championship, or the AL East division championship. But I'm curious to see how it's going to play out with that. There's an antique store over there too. Oh yeah, there is a bus. You know what, now that I say that, there is a bus depot down there. Across the way over here, a little sun glared out just from the angle. But that's my old post office right there. I'd always walk down right over here to go to the post office. Over here at the Starbucks, there's also a cigar place right next to it. Is the site of the first building here in 1871, the town and farm lot of Andrew Glassell IV and Chapman, who 2 familiar names in this area, were all first protected buyers by the track's resident agent, Glassell. Maintained 2 seedling orange trees in front of office residents as curious to entice settlers. The site of the first building right there. The Plaza Historic District. Walkway plaques were donated by the community to commemorate some of the events. So these are all the contributors right here. I love all the old neon like that Felix sign. Look at this old barber shop sign. The Blaze Pizza over there, that used to be a Radio Shack. Not a Radio Shack anymore. Look at this old truck. Nice. There's another old advertisement there for the Army Navy store. That one's still open. So not only is that a relic of the past, but it's still promoting an active store here in 2023. Right over there. City of Orange Plaza Historic District, also known as the Orange Circle. I call it the Orange Circle so much that, see, these buses are trying to prove me wrong and just being like, no, 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 we've been here. We've been here. So I bought 2 bicycles here in town, right over here at Orange Cycle. One of them where I ended up wrecking it going down a sign. Look at that old, wow, that old bus over there. Little van, it's pretty sweet. Yeah, I bought both my bikes here. Like old times. Okay, a little baseball talk for just a minute to explain my plans coming up. So, right now, the Rays, Tampa Bay Rays, who, as stated, are probably going to be staying in the Bay. There's a 99.99% chance that they're going to be staying in St. Pete. It has not officially been announced, which is good. I really wish they would be more towards Ybor or even Orlando. The thing is, by the time they even build the new stadium in 2027 or around that time frame, who knows where I will even be. I'll still be supporting the team. I'll still be going to their games this year and last year. So last year I started a thing where I wanted to go to all 30 stadiums. Knocked off a few last year, knocked off a bunch this year. I've gone to 18 stadiums already. I've been to more stadiums than that. There are 30 current Major League stadiums. I have been to 18. Now there will be more. There's probably going to be some expansions and some moves and things like that over, you know, over the span of not only my life but other people's lives and MLB and all that. But I want to go to every stadium while the team I root for, the Rays, are playing there, and I've knocked 18 off between last year and this year. And with the postseason, which basically the postseason is the playoffs, for those who are not into baseball, the playoffs are after the regular season is going to begin in the first week of October and go through after Halloween, through Halloween weekend, I think into the first weekend, or the first week of November. And that consists of the American League and National League Division Championship, the ALDS, American League Division Series, the Championship Series, and then the World Series. The American League is where the Rays are. Now, right now, this could all change in a few days. The Rays are in the wild card, which means they have to play a best 2 out of 3 game series to get to the Division Series, then to the Championship Series, and then the World Series. Is very, very complex. I will not be able to go. If they go into the wild card race, I can't go to the wild card. I have prior obligations. I have already booked a trip that cannot be changed. In fact, my mom will be flying out to Southern California in a couple of days, 2-ish days, and I will be with her until October 6th, maybe 7th. Let's call it October 6th. Which is when basically the time frame of the Division Series starts. So what's before that will be the wild card I cannot go to. So I'm hoping the Rays can take the division. That way I do not miss a playoff game. And I have no problem missing a playoff game, but I do not want them to go in there and I am not there to support them and then they lose and the season's over and I have gone to my last Rays game for the year. I want to be there for the team and just be there. Last year I was there in the wild card when they lost against the Cleveland Guardians, formerly the Indians, and even though that was, you know, that 15th inning walk-off that the Guardians hit out to left field was really like, man, that just like hit me sitting behind the Rays dugout. At least I was there for it. So I would like to be there, even if they lose in any of the playoff games leading up to the hopeful World Series. I want to be there for it. Okay, so that's enough about that. Very, very confusing baseball talk, but that's why I want them to get to the next round. That way I get back to Florida on the night of the 6th, early morning the 7th, and then I can get into postseason baseball. I have devoted all of October to postseason. If they do not make it, if they get eliminated, then I have it completely open. But right now, all of my October is locked in for that. As of this very moment, this is the postseason picture. Now keep in mind, anything over here in the wild card, the American League wild card, the National League wild card is not decided, which means, so all this could change. So if Tampa Bay takes over the lead from the Orioles, they're only 2 games back with 11 games to play, they could still overtake the American League and not be in the wild card. But let's just hypothetically say the postseason started today and it ended up being the Blue Jays and Tampa Bay Rays. They would have home field advantage, they have a better record. I would not be able to make it back for that best 2 out of 3 game series. I believe the ALDS is a best of 5, so I am hoping I can go back. So here's the interesting thing. I have knocked off 18 stadiums off of my list so far where the Rays are playing, and I have never been to Ranger Stadium. I have never been to the Minnesota Twins Stadium to see the Rays. I have never been to the Astros Stadium, and I have never been to Baltimore. So I could, if it went well, let's say that they made it in, let's say they won the wild card and ended up playing Baltimore, I could go see them in the 19th stadium. And then any of these 3 teams that go on to the ALCS, if the Rays are in there, I could essentially maybe knock off 20 of those. And I've never been to Dodger Stadium, and I've never been to the Braves Stadium to see the Rays. I did go to the Braves World Series, took my uncle there to see the Astros a couple years ago, because he's a big Braves fan for many, many years, and I grew up with the Braves, so I took him there. And the 2 of us, they watched them. They won the World Series, but they ended up losing that game, even though they won the series. But I also haven't knocked off the Phillies, or, well, I went to the Miami Marlins Stadium, but I have not been to the Brewer Stadium. So I could essentially maybe knock off at least 1, 2, maybe 3 more stadiums. I've been focusing on this graph too long. Keep in mind, this could all change over the next couple of days. The only ones that are locked in are the non-wild cards. So pretty much everything from this area is what is kind of locked in so far. Anyway. And any of those that I just mentioned that I have not been to those stadiums, if they end up playing them in those away stadiums, you can bet your bottom dollar I'm going to be there. I'm going to travel to go to this. Like I said, I've opened up all of October, and if that gets shut down in the first week of October, such is life. But I have some high hopes. I'm putting it out there, hopefully. All right, enough baseball talk for now. So I kind of put that in there. I just want to give some perspective on how my plans and travel plans are going to go in October. I'm just going to stroll back through. Also been doing some thinking about stuff that's going to happen for 2024. Now it's going to be kind of business as usual with, you know, how things have been the last couple of years through 2023. But into 24, I do want to knock off the rest of those stadiums. Let's say I still have 12 stadiums to go, possibly only 10 stadiums to go, or we'll be traveling to those next year. But other than that, I really want to take a step back from planned events, planned festivities, conventions, openings, theme park openings, things like that. All those places I still want to go to, but I really want to have a more open type of schedule when it comes to doing things. I'm probably not making a lot of sense, so let me try to explain just a little bit better. In 2024, other with the asterisk being the baseball stuff, like that will be locked into a date stamp. And obviously after 2024, when I have knocked off all 30 stadiums, I will still be going to Rays games, but not as heavily to the away stadiums. I go to certain stadiums, but I definitely don't want to have that I have to be in a certain city on a certain date locked in with that. So that will end at the end of 2024, and I'll just kind of move past that and have a little more, I don't want to say freedom, because I do have the freedom to do whatever I want at this particular point, but I am purposely locking myself into a lot of things, not just necessarily the baseball, but also with, oh, there's a new ride opening, oh, there's a new land opening at a theme park, oh, there's a certain convention, there is a certain haunt happening, there is, you know, this particular thing is taking place that I have said, you know what, I need to be at that, but I don't need to be in anything. And I want that to kind of change starting after this year and then, you know, progressing from there. So I just want to have, I don't want to lock myself into as much. Just kind of thinking out loud. I did mention that I will not be attending Dragon Con next year. So I will not be going that. I've been to that the last 10 years, and I will not be going to that. And I want to start doing that after this year. Keep in mind, business as usual and pretty much par for the course with the cliche stuff that I usually do till the end of the year. But after this year, going into 24, I kind of want to get back to basics, get back to the roots a little bit, and not really dialed in to an affirmative, tucked in schedule. I don't know what a tucked in schedule is. But I don't want to have to be back for something. I want to roam. I think I've kind of lost that over the last few years, the roaming aspect. And a lot of it's my own fault, throwing the baseball stuff in, and then all the conventions I go to. You know what? I should make that it's something I do on a regular basis. What is that? A tradition. I got too many traditions. I just need to alienate and disintegrate a lot of the traditions I have in my life. It's not going to be like a cold turkey type thing. I don't know why I'm focusing on this historic sago palm so much, but this has been here for a while too, and they have the little stanchions there holding it up. But I want to tone down the traditions and the usual things that I do over time. Take a look at these old Vespas, these old these old scooters right here. You know, having this channel, TheDailyWoo, putting up daily videos, sometimes I think it's a blessing and a curse. Also, Orange, California, the architecture reminds me a lot of South Pasadena. It's the old craftsman style houses. Because I feel like it's not a hindrance, but sometimes it's not only a motivation, but also a burden in the fact that it's called TheDailyWoo, and then I think I have to put out a daily video, and I have taken breaks pretty consistently. I put up a video every day. Did take the break in 2017 to do some bigger projects, but there are times I think maybe I shouldn't go out and film something today. Maybe I should have a me day or research something and not do a 24-hour challenge to put out another video and state what day it is and do things in real time. It's kind of an odd, bizarre way to run a channel in comparison to how it's normally done across the board on this platform. Oh, my shadow is really lengthy right there with the way the sun is behind me. Again, no idea what the future holds, thinking out loud, but these are real thoughts I'm always considering. Yeah, South Pasadena style. The houses aren't cheap around here either, though. I rented here, I didn't buy. I've never owned a house. This is another thing that gets me thinking too. Before I walk away from this, which I do pretty well with, but who knows if the next creative endeavor I have will be profitable. It might just be more of a passion project. I don't know if I want to continue renting or if I want to buy something, and then that way, if crap hits the fan and I don't do well with the new project, at least I have a place to call home. These are all kind of things that just go through the head. Look at that car over there. All right, enough of that. I am really excited about within the next week, I am going somewhere I have never been. Just some things in my head. But mostly I just wanted to talk about what I have no idea in the name of heck I'm going to be doing after October 6th and 7th. It's going to be an interesting month after that date. All bets are off. No one knows. Except maybe someone who has the sports almanac. That's not a real thing. That's just from a movie.